When did the I crave attention kid go too far? Snuck vodka into state mandated testing in a water bottle. She was sent home drunk off her ass and my entire class was banned from having water bottles in class for the rest of the year. He drank an entire bottle of vodka at lunch and was kicked out of school. Some kid shat on the ducking toilet seat. A week later he shat in the sink. I don't get why people liked him. Started angrily pumping weights when we were chilling at someone's house. Threatened to shave his head and then tore his shirt off of his body. Did he drink a Monster? And was his name Kyle? She told the whole school that some dude got her pregnant with twins. And that she had an abortion. She printed pictures of ultrasounds off the internet. And put balloons on his locker on the twins' birthday. Jokes on her because she didn't cut the URL off one of the ultrasound pictures. A girl once punched herself in the gut at her little bros b-day party and threw up just so people would notice her. A teacher friend of mine told me once about a student she had who cut a hole in the pocket of his jeans so he could stick his DCK through it, and when the teacher wasn't looking he'd poke it out through the pocket and thrust it towards the girls in class. Finally one day she caught him in the act and he got either suspended or kicked out. IDR. There was this girl for a while that had this huge crush on me. And she didn't seem to realize that she had been a total jerk to me for most of my life and that I really disliked her. Finally she decided to get my attention by stealing my $300 leather jacket and saying that she wouldn't give it back unless I went out with her. So I contacted her mom and told her that if she didn't intervene, then my parents were going to press charges. The day after she gave my jacket back, she sent me this long ass text talking about how I hurt her so badly. And it would take a long time to earn back her trust. I replied by saying I don't want you to trust me. I want you to leave me alone. And we haven't spoken since. Bitch put powdered laxatives in his friend's drinks. This was in 6th grade. My junior year of high school someone threatened to shoot up graduation. Rightfully the police were called and he was suspended. Ducked a horse and took a video of it. Bragged to a couple other weirdos about the horse ducking. They sent themselves the video off his phone and it went around the whole school. Enlisted right after graduation probably to escape horse ducker reputation. I was at my friend's house. I was bored and started playing Portal 2 on his Xbox. After a while my other friend's sister, who mind you treated attention like a drug, burst into the room and started screaming at me like we were dating and in a fight. My friend was there too and just watched. Every time I would tell her to leave she would get louder. Teacher assigned us a confessional speech and he admitted he had the hots for his sister, then got offensive when we recoiled with yes and no. He claimed we were all on the wrong side of history and that consensual incest was going to be the next big thing. He was a massive jerk. One day we had a supply in science and he got up on the desk, whipped his DCK out and yelled I'm Gandhi, then ran out of the classroom. He went to a special needs school 2 months later. That mother ducker. Some Wolverine wannabe stabbed me with 6 damn pencils. There used to be a guy in my class that would do anything for attention. The other guys in class liked to make him do dumb stuff and he always thought he somehow proved himself. He did things like cutting of his hair during lessons, touch girls where he shouldn't, and start fire alarms just for fun. One day he got caught masturbating in the cafeteria. Twice. Had an online friend claim while we were making an MC server that he was super rich and had a mansion. And like 5 Bugattis and Ferraris and what the duck ever. Showed us inspect element versions of his PayPal. Posted his Google images cars all over the Discord. Had a mightier than thou tone. Abused his admin on the server a lot. He never once showed us his actual face or spoke on VC. Once he got busted. He DM'd me pretending to be his brother saying that he had died. Then a couple days later his brother DM'd me and said the doc's ducked up and he's actually been in a coma for like 2 days, but told me to tell you he feels betrayed that you never believed him. I blocked the duck out at him when he DM'd me a few months later saying sup bro. Been a long time since I saw you. Anyone wants proof of this? I got you. P.S. Duck off Salvatore, you snot rocket in a shitty covered tree. Started yelling and screaming purely in an annoying and antagonistic way during a school shooting drill. We had no idea it was a drill and the kid is just banging on walls and yelling, hey, we're in here, we're in here. As other students are in the corner and girls are crying because they truly believe this kid is going to get them killed. The teacher and student aides were trying to restrain him, and a friend of mine, again, still under the impression this was real, literally stood up to go punch his lights out to shut him up just as the drill ended and was revealed to be just a drill. Had the announcement come a few seconds later, that kid would have gotten knocked the hell out. Edit. Oh, thanks for the silver. First time ever getting one. Wait. Are you saying that schools, in the US, have shooter drills that are not announced as drills until they are over? So a couple of times a year there is an announcement that there is a shooter on the property and everyone goes into hiding thinking it is real? He was jealous that we went somewhere without him, so he hit me with a boot attached to a bungee cord. Twerked in front the classroom. Happened to me too. 7th grade. In elementary school, some kid unzipped his pants in front of a bunch of people and was showing people his underwear. Everyone was old enough to recognize that it was not funny. Not the worst thing ever. But way back in middle school, I was about 3 football fields away from the school itself. It had a large grass field behind it that we occasionally had to run to the end on. And the friend I was with passed out. I carried her back to the school, and the moment I got to the nurse's office she was miraculously better and felt fine. There was a kid on our school bus who needed way too much attention. He was constantly screaming or throwing stuff out the window. He at one point reenacted giving birth the whole ride, complete with legs spread, screaming, fake pushing, etc. One day he threw a water bottle and hit a car. He was banned from the bus for the year. The next year he was allowed back on. In the first week he pulled out a needle and pierced his lower lip while on the bus. Of course it was bumpy, so he didn't get it centered, so he did it again to even it out. He was banned from the bus again. This stupid ass kid did a ton of acid shortly before a pep rally in high school and freaked out during it. First the school called the police, but apparently he was freaking out too much, so they had to call an ambulance to hold him down and carry him out via stretcher. Pretty sure he got expelled because I never saw him in one of the classes we were both in ever again. In high school, claimed she was pregnant with triplets and then a few weeks later claimed she had cancer now, so she lost them. Not me, but my mom's story. When she was in high school there was this kid who was always desperate for attention and would do stupid things to get it. Well, one day he decided he would drink poison to get attention. He almost died. He had to be taken to the hospital and have his stomach pumped. I knew a pathological liar in high school. She would tell you one thing one day and something the complete opposite the next. For example, one day she tells me about a threesome she had. The very next day she tells me she's a virgin. Which one is it, lady? I knew one guy who was a pathological liar. One day I was bummed because I had just broke things off with my girlfriend. He asked why I was bummed and I replied, my GF and I just broke up. To which he responded, you think that's bad? My GF died. He said it with a pretty big smile on his face. Had a kid in L school named Ricky. He was the typical jackass kid that just was in trouble constantly. He was funny in some cases, but in general it was like please be quiet whenever he spoke up. One afternoon pretty much everyone was ignoring Ricky and he got upset and excused himself to use the bathroom. About 20 minutes passed and the teacher asked if another student would go check. Then that student was gone a handful of time. So everything stopped and they called the office. Turns out Ricky was in the bathroom lobbing dirty cups of water and whatever else you can imagine at people, then holding the door shut, and had like 4-5 other children and they're just covered in disgusting water. Hated this kid. That kid was actually one of my best friends and he punched me after confronting him about his plummeting grades. His grades were plummeting because he played Undertale too much. It's like a 5-hour game. Some wannabe goth kid borrowed my 9-inch nails t-shirt at a roller skating rink and put on a bunch of makeup. His girlfriend promptly broke up with him because he was behaving like an idiot. He then made a very public scene about how he was going to hang himself in the public bathroom. The police and ambulance came and took him away. All the while he was wearing my Duckine t-shirt. I never got that shirt back. He went too far. A girl in 6th grade started yelling at me and my friend that we were racist just because we both happened to be white. When we ignored her, she went to the teacher and told her that we called her fat and were bullying her. I'm entirely Hispanic but appear white, and some girl tried that on me in elementary school. When I told her I wasn't white, then she ironically started making racist comments about the Mexicans. A girl walked into class incredibly late, and all our desks faced the whiteboard. And as she walked to get to her seat, she had to pass most of the occupied desks. So we're all staring at the whiteboard while she walks past us and she just yells, "What are you all looking at?" She sent picture of cuts on her arms to other students via Snapchat with no warning. When kids responded, she left them on open. The school and her parents obviously got involved and she was called to the office first thing in morning the next day. I later found out she sent them because she was curious as to what people would say to her if she self-harmed. The cuts were deep. Just deep enough to draw a small big of blood. They healed in a month or so and didn't even scar. But it freaked people out. This girl never really apologized or showed any kind of remorse. She was almost proud of the fact that people tried to contact her or help her. Kids called her house phone to speak to her parents. Needless to say, most people haven't forgiven her. She was sent to therapy, was confirmed to be non-suicidal, and that's where the story ends. I'm not sure if she is still in therapy. He was this annoying popular kid who loved getting attention, and in 6th grade he set a bathroom trash can on fire so the entire school had to stand out in the snow for like 10 minutes, and then we sat in the gym for another 15. SMH what a dumbus. Edit. He jumped into a window and crashed into the playground. That's a really long time for a window replacement. He lowered the U.S. flag on the school's flagpole and hoisted up his Jolly Roger pirate flag in its place. That's funny though. A compulsive liar told the friend circle that she was ARPed and had a miscarriage. She was inconsolable and got lots of sympathies over it. When my sister asked about it at a later date, compulsive liar had no clue what she was talking about. Mild example, but I always cringe when I remember it. My female classmate goes up to her 50+ male teacher and chirps out, "I am R. Anderson. I'm legal now." She moved to our town in maybe 10th or 11th grade. And I remember having a good first impression of her, but she became more selfish and annoying over time. No one else seems to think it was too far. But she drove the car into a pole her very first and only time driving. Her dad took her around an empty parking lot and she managed to crash it. Damaged the car. Broke her dad's nose. I don't think she got hurt too bad, but she never had to drive again. Now her best friend carts her everywhere she needs to go, and she's expressed to multiple people that she doesn't see why she needs to drive if her friend can take her places. She also made sure her parents saw the first time she ever cut. Said the dog did it. Showed me the cut the same morning and talked all about how she was just like so bad at hiding it. She wore a short skirt just so she could show it off. Strangle me. Push me into a table and throw a chair at me. If it did hit, my 10-year-old self would have either had a serious injury. My little cousin is 4. One day we're at my nan's house and me and my mum were sat in the garden watching the children run around. When all of a sudden my little cousin runs inside for no reason and started crying to her mum that she had fallen over and nobody helped her. She got a chocolate bar and a plaster. She didn't fall over. She just knew she'd get attention if she said she had. Started stripping in the middle of Senior Square. When him and I were 11, he basically started going up behind people, mostly guys, humping them and then proceeding to call them gay. I also recently heard he sexually harassed a girl at a party. He is 15 now. He tried to beat up the lead bullies and got sent to hospital. The bullies were expelled and arrested for breaking one arm and one leg and a rib. Most shocking thing I had seen with my own eyes. He would dance around and sing. Crap. 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 I wanna eat my crap. Asterisk. Would also leap into people's backs and ride them around. He finally got the boot when he stabbed a teacher with a pencil. A girl in my grade claimed she cut in her depression, as well as saying she was suicidal. Nobody believed her, because we all knew she was doing it for attention. However, the next day she came back with fresh cut wounds all along her arms. She wore a tank top to show them off. She going out to everyone and saying, look, I cut. I told you. Apparently when she got home the day before she cut just to show everyone. Edit. I haven't seen her since, because she soon left the school. I hope she is receiving help. Almost every school shooting. This guy in my honors English class loved attention whether it was good or not. Obviously he received more attention from doing things that people didn't like or defying an agreeable consensus. Anyways, we're reading To Kill a Mockingbird in class, and he volunteered every day to read, which I understand now. He finally got to the day in which he could read NGG out loud. It didn't play out well. I was in the Boy Scouts with a kid who had ADHD, or hyperactive as they called it back then. One time he found a venomous snake, copperhead, and started trying to poke and provoke it with a stick. The adults got pretty pissed at him. Another time his dad was chaperoning a trip and asked him to get a soda from a vending machine. He got the soda, but shook it up before handing it to his dad. Afterward his dad beat him up right in front of everyone. Welp. He pulled off a Muslim girl's scarf. Edit. I forgot to say he considered himself Muslim as well, so committed suicide. We were close friends, but she was always trying to get attention. She would attempt to commit suicide, but never took any real initiative. I always gave her attention about it, even though I thought I knew it would never go anywhere. I was wrong. The 20th of December, 2018. She died in the hospital because she tried to hang herself in the barn. She definitely got attention for it, though. I, along with other close friends of hers, were, and still are, devastated to say the least. My 7th-8th grade history geography teacher has never seen SpongeBob. Now this kid in my grade and friend group, IDKY, loved SpongeBob. Every day he'd try to play one of his SpongeBob DVDs, always failing. The teacher was cool and always made jokes about it. Close bracket. The one day the Sponge Boy was absent, the teacher decided to start a SpongeBob Kahoot. He took a picture of all of us, the students, in front of it and set it as his home screen on his monitor so you could see it on the Promethean. The next day the kid absolutely flipped. He finally managed to actually get one of his DVDs into the computer. He hugged the computer so tight, the principal had to come and remove him. Best day ever. He brought a sword to school and got suspended. He had already been telling everyone he was some kind of ancient female fox entity inside a scrawny suburban glow-in-the-dark 16-year-old's body and bragging about how he could do taekwondo while wearing stilettos. He also dated my friend for 5 minutes and broke up with her at 7:30 AM in the cafeteria before school started. She started screaming and hitting him with her art portfolio. 10th grade was weird. The dude was my best friend since kindergarten. Now I can't wait until he leaves at the end of the year. On the first few days of school this year, we were outside for sport and we could whatever we wanted since we just did the beat test and finished early. I decided to go throw the frisbee with some friends and the guy in mention stayed back towards the car park with some other people. At some point I started seeing rocks appearing, and I turned around to see him throwing rocks at me. None hit, but one almost grazed my ear. This dude plays higher level cricket and is a hard thrower. We had a test and he suddenly began making loud noises, first tapping his foot and later just cursing out loud. At some point he just punched his computer and saying duck extremely loud. People had already told him to be quiet, but at that moment literally everyone was like, shut up the duck and be quiet. He was told to take the test outside the classroom. And it wasn't as if it was the only time. He put himself in jail, saying he was possessed by an evil spirit and tried shooting himself in front of his mother when she was trying to convince to leave. Not a kid but an adult. We had a guy at work took $20 to eat a live frog. Lunch. Some spending cash and a vacation. Teacher wasn't in the classroom for whatever reason. This girl went to the front of the class and was acting like her pencil was her DCK. Doing the helicopter and everything. Teacher comes back in and catches her. But there was no remorse on her face. This was 5th grade. Slashed her wrist after a breakup and posted it on social media. Walked to the front of class, whipped out his DCK, just started beating it. The middle of the class like the teacher was in the middle of talking. He was an absolute mad lad and an asshole. According to my parents, in kindergarten or so, I used to bite other kids in the back. She was listening to music in class and was told to stop. She kept on the headphones and said nothing. By the way, they are the teacher's headphone and expensive ones too, because we are responsible enough to take care of them. The teacher unplugged them and sat them on the desk and walked back to her. The girl proceeded to scream at her and throw the headphones, breaking them. The teacher just told her to calm down and didn't even punish her. He ran super fast down the hallway with his eyes closed, clipping his neck on the corner of the locker and opened a huge gash. Our school was just down the street from the fire station, so the ambo got there pretty fast. They were able to save him because it was mainly just a flesh wound. But he lost a dangerous amount of blood and was in a coma for 2 days.